Welcome back. All right, so I haven't done a top 20 wingers list in a while. And so I started getting this going. And then as I was wrapping it up, I was like, well, I'll go do the treadmill, do my 5 mile jog that I do every day on the treadmill when my body will allow it that I do that. Part of it is to keep myself mentally sharp, despite people in the top 20 defenseman video talking about me having senility. What? No. No. As a matter of fact, I like Jake Sanderson. I have no idea why people think that if somebody's not on the list that it means I hate the player. What an absolutely ridiculous thing to say. But the top 20 wingers, I had it all figured out, and then I came in here, and what I was doing was I was going to have anybody who's listed as a center on the app, I was going to make them in the centers list, but then the NHL Network, they on social media released their top 20, and it included a few of the players that I was not going to include on the wingers because they're not listed as wingers because Claude Giroux. If you've been a subscriber to the channel long enough, you would know Claude Giroux, sometimes a winger, sometimes a center, and the one year I listed him as a winger, he was a center, and the year I listed him as a center, he was a winger. It's just a whole mess. So I thought, all right, if they're listed as a center, but since the NHL Network listed them as wingers, I had better have them on the wingers list or else, because otherwise people are going to be all, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he doesn't watch hockey. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Honorable mentions to Mark Stone, who I think is an excellent forward in his own right. I still think he can be one of the best two-way forwards in the game as long as his body is able to handle the strain. Travis Konechny gets an honorable mention. Very solid young forward for the Philadelphia Flyers. Matt Boldy gets an honorable mention. I thought he had a very good year. Matt Boldy, I have sung his praises before. And an honorable mention to Brady Tkachuk, who was listed by the NHL in their top 20. However, I didn't think he had a great year with the Sens. I thought he had a good run at Four Nations. I think that's part of the reason he gets into the top 20. But for me personally, I don't have him in the top 20. I think he had 53 points overall, 27 goals. Good season, but for me, the top 20, I didn't see him as top 20, but there you go. So number 20, a player who has changed teams in the offseason. And as long as he doesn't have any issues with his new team in terms of, getting used to line mates and everything, Nikolai Ehlers is an excellent forward, really good winger, and I think Carolina did a good job picking him up. So that's a smart move as far as I'm concerned on their part. And Ehlers I have at number 20. At number 19, from the Detroit Red Wings, Lucas Raymond. Raymond is underrated by many, and there will be those who say that I'm underrating him here. But Lucas Raymond, excellent forward in his own right. Really good season for the Detroit Red Wings. Future's really bright. Next time I do a video of this nature, odds are Lucas Raymond probably moves up the list. Number 18, from Dallas. Now, Jason Robertson, I understand that for some he hasn't lived up to his billing over the last couple of years. I think Jason Robertson's production's just fine. So I understand that he hasn't been a 40-goal scorer necessarily, but he's still producing really well, and his cap hit is a bargain for the amount of points he puts up. So when I see fans saying, they could just trade him, he's a bum. Okie dokie. Jason Robertson, very good young forward for the Dallas Stars, and apparently underrated by some, or they just expect more from him than you're going to get. But he's still, in my eyes, one of the better wingers in the game. Number 17, I went back and forth on this one a bit. I really want to have Marchenko higher on the list, but as the list stands, Kirill Marchenko gets 17th. Good. I don't even know if good's the term for it. Excellent season for Columbus this past year. Big part of the reason why Columbus was in the running for a playoff spot until the very end was the play of Kirill Marchenko. We'll see how things go this season and if there's more upside there, but I felt like Kirill at 17 was the right call. At 16, now, let me just say this. I have Ovechkin higher on my list than he is on the NHL list, which kind of surprised me. Ovechkin had a very good season, but, and I'm imagining this is how the NHL Network will see it too, he is turning 40. And the expectations are not what they once were. So Ovechkin at 16, I feel like is the right call. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, it would have been Brady Tkachuk would have moved him down for the NHL Network, and I don't have him there. I was surprised by how some of what they had kind of lined up with what I had in my list as well. And I debated about whether or not to go back and then do the centers, and then I could do wingers after, but centers should be safe for last. I'll do wingers now and suffer the slings and arrows for that. But Alex Ovechkin for me at 16, we know he's going for 900 goals this year and beyond, and we'll see how many goals he's able to score this coming season. At number 15, from the New Jersey Devils, Jesper Bratt. Bratt has improved every year. Every year, his numbers have got better. Every year, he's become a better player. And every year, I think Bratt's become more consistent. Bratt, at one point in his career, it seemed like he started really well and then faded later on. And he's become better at playing that full 82 games and maintaining that level. So, Jesper Bratt, for me at 15, is a player who could move up the next time that I do a list of wingers. Number 14 on the list for me personally, Brandon Hagel. Hagel had an excellent season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The goal scoring's there, the points are there. That contract that he signed has turned out to be a bargain thus far. It is a long-term contract, so we shall see if it remains a bargain. But Brandon Hagel, excellent player. And I think in terms of wingers in the National Hockey League, he's become one of the better players. I still don't understand why Chicago traded him. I still do not understand. He's a young player. He's a really good player. I still do not understand why the Chicago Blackhawks parted ways with him. Number 13. Like, if he was older, I could get it, but being younger, I don't. Number 13, and I know I have him higher on my list than the NHL does, Clayton Keller. Going to Utah seemed to help Clayton Keller's career just that little bit. I think it helped a lot of the Utah players because that concern about are we going to be here next year that was there in Arizona, that's not there with Utah now. So Clayton Keller is becoming that superstar player. I did a video a couple years ago on my view that Keller was a superstar, and I think we're here, but you guys can let me know your thoughts on that. I think Keller is a fantastic player. Number 12. So Nashville for this one. Philip Forsberg. Forsberg had a good year on a team that didn't. He had a good year on a team that struggled to perform. And for Forsberg, this is a big year, potentially, right? He may very well be that best forward for Nashville. And if the Preds are going to turn it around and get better at all, a lot of that may come down to Forsberg's play and his ability to raise this game to the next level. Obviously, you're looking for a bounce back from Stamkos and Marchessault at the same time. So if all those three things happen, maybe Nashville ends up being a surprise this season. Number 11. One of the players listed as a center on the NHL app. He hasn't played center, and I know this, but I was ready to list Jake Guentzel amongst centers since he's listed as a center on the NHL app. Jake Guentzel has been excellent in Pittsburgh, and now he's excellent in Tampa as well. The detractors would say Guentzel has benefited from playing with great players, but you can also say great players have benefited from playing with Jake Guentzel. It can slice both ways. So Jake Guentzel is the one that's just outside the top 10 for me. I think that he's probably going to be a 40-goal scorer again this year for Tampa. They clearly made the right choice bringing in Guentzel and letting go of Stamkos. And so we'll see this season how things continue to go for them. Number 10, as we move into the top 10. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, William Nylander. I think Nylander is an excellent forward. Of the core four, I'm just thinking about this. So obviously Marner's out. Marner gets a lot of criticism for his playoff performances. Tavares is still there, but he's getting older. Matthews is the goal scorer. I honestly think, though, that Nylander might be the best of the four when it comes to playoff time. And his competitiveness, I feel like, gets better every year. So William Nylander, in my eyes, is definitely top 10. The Toronto Maple Leafs, there's that debate about whether they're going to fall off this year. If they don't, it's going to be because guys like Nylander raise their game just that little bit. Number 9. So I have Mikko Rantanen lower on my list than what I saw from the NHL, and my reasoning is simple. Mikko Rantanen's numbers in Carolina and then Dallas during the regular season weren't fantastic. Now, during the playoffs, yes, he had a very good first couple of rounds, and then Edmonton shut him down. So for me, Mikko Rantanen, top 10, yes. Number 9, sure. I don't know if we're going to see Rantanen produce in Dallas during the regular season this year the way he used to in Colorado. I do have my doubts a little bit, just a little bit, because I think it was 20 games. He had 5 goals with Dallas after the trade. So we'll see how things go this coming regular season. Maybe he can pick up where he left off in the second round of the playoffs. Ignoring the third round, of course, is important for that. But yeah, Mikko Rantanen, very good forward. Dallas Stars. Linchpin. That's what I'm looking for. Linchpin, not Kingpin. Linchpin. Kingpin is Spider-Man, totally different. But yeah, Mikko Rantanen, a linchpin for Dallas up front, especially in light of the fact they already have Jason Robertson. This is a good Dallas team if they can put it all together. Number 8, from the New York Rangers. Artemi Panarin is in the final year of his contract. So don't be entirely surprised to see Artemi Panarin have a solid season for the New York Rangers. He's playing for a new contract. Panarin is, I think, still one of the better puck-moving forwards in the National Hockey League. And if the Rangers have a bounce-back season, Panarin's numbers will bounce back as well. So, and by bounce back, I mean go back into, he almost had 50 goals, not last season, but the season before. Maybe he can go on a run like that again, that kind of thing, if everything bounces the right way for the Rangers this year. Number 7, listed as a center. He's listed as a center on the app. I mean, in a way, it does prevent an argument, doesn't it? Because if I didn't have Sam Reinhart and Jake Gensel on the list, the comment section would be filled with Reinhart and Gensel. Even though I would have explained it, doesn't matter. People fast forward to the end of a video to complain. And so if there was a lack of Reinhart and Gensel, there certainly would have been a lot of complaints. Sam Reinhart had an excellent start to the season. He was amongst league leaders in goals and points. He didn't maintain that. By the end of the season, he'd kind of fallen off offensively a little bit. But so had a lot of the Florida Panthers. It's ridiculous how many Florida Panthers just seem to be coasting along. And then playoff time, and there you go. So I will not fall for that again. If they're coasting, getting ready for the playoffs, I'll just throw them at number 1 in the power rankings. Just be like, you know what? Florida sucks right now. They're going to win the Stanley Cup first on the power rankings. I don't know how I'll defend that, but I'll figure it out. Number 6. Kirill. So Kirill's in a final season of his contract. Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota. An electrifying player when he plays. I didn't have him in the top 5 based on him missing half the season. And so that is part of it. I apologize to everybody out there watching. But for me, Kaprizov, still top 6. Absolutely top 6. But I did feel like the top 5, I was a little more, just a little more convicted on them being in that top 5. Kaprizov in the top 6. I did go back and forth on it a little bit when it comes to Kaprizov's game. I do think that he'll probably be the all-time leader for Minnesota in goals, points per game, everything when his career's done in Minnesota. I think he'll just own the record book. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts playing net at some point and starts racking up some wins, too, if he gets bored. Number 5 on the list. This is one, too, that if not for injury might have been higher. The NHL 26 cover athlete, Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk got hurt at Four Nations, didn't play again during the regular season, came back and played in the playoffs, wins himself a Stanley Cup. Matthew Tkachuk is one of the best forwards in the game. Very likely to miss the start of the season considering the nature of the injuries he was suffering through in those playoffs. But Matthew Tkachuk is a warrior. He's going to, at the very least, want to make sure he's ready to go to the Olympics. And I do expect that Olympic play is going to cause next year's rankings to get the balance is going to be more towards that Olympic play. Think of it like when I do the prospect videos and I talk about how the World Juniors have a lot of weight to where somebody is in the draft rankings at the end of the year. I think that how players play at the Olympics will have a big determining factor in next year's rankings during the summer when it comes to who's seen as the best wingers, forwards, goaltenders, defensemen, etc., etc. But Matthew Tkachuk for me, number 5. I'm fine with that. Number 4, and I know that I am more of a Kyle Connor fan than some others. I get that. I think Kyle Connor, it's a shame he didn't get to 100 points with Winnipeg. He was so close. His scoring tailed off at the end of the season. Otherwise, he would have cruised past 100 points. He did get 97, so that's still pretty good. But Kyle Connor, excellent forward. I still think that there's more there. I think he can pass 100 points for the Winnipeg Jets. And if the Jets are going to overcome the loss of Ehlers, maybe Connor just improves his offensive output a little bit. Obviously, that's where guys like Perfetti upping their production helps too. But yeah, Kyle Connor or a guy like Brad Lambert maybe breaking through. Number 3, no longer Toronto Maple Leaf. Not a Toronto Maple Leaf anymore, and it's Mitch Marner. So Mitch Marner, there's a lot of negativity out there about Mitch Marner. I still think he's one of the best forwards in the game. I understand the criticism. I see it. I hear it. But that criticism doesn't have an effect on my opinion of a player. I still think Mitch Marner is one of the best forwards in the game, and I think Vegas fans are going to be pretty darn happy pretty darn quick. Mitch Marner is ready to really kind of pop off. There's still pressure in Las Vegas, but not like Toronto. And the way that Las Vegas embraces all of its players, and it kind of feels like a family there, is different. Not that Toronto treats players badly at all. And obviously you can get a lot of merchandise sponsorship deals playing in Toronto that may not be available to you when you're in Vegas. But I think Marner's going to love it there. And I expect him to get off to a fantastic start to the season at the very least. Number 2. I really didn't have a debate about 2 and 1. David Pastrnak is the offense now for the Boston Bruins. With the exit of Brad Marchand, he is their offense. And every time this past season that I saw criticism of Pastrnak, I didn't see any reason to criticize Pastrnak. I just felt like Boston's only offensive weapon was Pastrnak. So all teams that played against Boston had to do was shut him down. If you shut down David Pastrnak, you're probably going to beat Boston. And so I thought he had a much tougher matchup when it came to the games that were played than he normally would, because he was the one that was keyed on. Not one of the few, but the one that a team needed to key on. And I thought he came through pretty well. I thought he still had a pretty good year. Number 1, I never had any doubt. And yes, the NHL had him number 1 on their list too. No, I didn't consider changing it just because the NHL had it this way. Sometimes it's just obvious that Nikita Kucherov is the best winger in the game today. Kucherov, I do see every now and then people saying he's underrated and people don't talk about him as much. Kucherov's not a center, and centers will always get more attention. So centers, you're looking at Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, etc., etc. And so, yeah, Kucherov isn't going to be seen as being in that tier because he's a winger. There's different responsibilities to being a center than being a winger. That's why some guys who are listed as centers end up being wingers at the NHL level, because it's not as much that it's easier. The responsibility is a little bit different, and it may be a little bit simpler of a game that you can play. So this is why there's discussions of whether or not Bedard might be better suited in Chicago to being a winger for the time being, until his game matures, and then you throw him back into center. But yeah, Kucherov is an excellent winger. To me, easily the best winger in the game. And I think any list that doesn't have Kucherov at number 1, I think is probably looking at something very, very different than the rest of us are when we watch hockey games. Nikita Kucherov is a first ballot Hall of Famer, as a lot of the guys in the top 10 would be. But yeah, there you go. Your top 20 wingers for 2025. And if I had known that this list was going to be coming out from the NHL and NHL Network today, I probably would have done something else. But here we are. I figured the list is done. I might as well post this now. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. And I promise you, I am very much in control of my faculties. I have a very good memory. I have a ridiculous memory, as my wife puts it. And I watch a heck of a lot of hockey. And part of it is so when I can do lists that, I can say with some degree of confidence that I believe in those lists. Whether it's a favorite players list like earlier or something like this. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That being said, I'm done for now. I'll talk to you again soon.